Hey people. So tell me if I've already told you this before, yeah? Because my old car, I was keeping it going. Do you mind if I pull the blinds down? Oh, you're looking good.
It gets very fluffy.
Like it's matted, like a dog here that mats. I don't know what's going on. But so tell me if I've already told you this before, because my old car, I had, as I say to everyone, the car before the last was bought because I emergently, I needed a new one ASAP because someone blew my last one up with a bomb, yeah? The look on your face says that you don't know about this, but I don't know how you put it. So the car I had that I just got rid of was a wagon, yeah? And I got that wagon because the car before it got blown up with one of those Hoban bomb things. Boom, took almost the house out. From where I am to where you are is how close the car was to the gas lines. Took one side of the house out. It was like 4 fire brigades, cops everywhere. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was insane.
Why did someone
blow my car up?
Yeah. I mean, you don't know.
Of course I do. I know who it was. I know all of it. But I told the police that I couldn't tell them who it was because the person had threatened to kill boss. And he'd already blown up my car. So I really believe that might happen.
It's an actual real threat.
So I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to be giving names out because it's too scary because, they know where I live.
Also, they actually could genuinely
kill my dog.
Yeah.
No shit.
And I believe they probably would have.
That's exactly right, yeah. But anyway, so the car I've been keeping it running for as long as possible because my whole life I've always just gotten, secondhand cars, older, usually, 200,000+ fucking kilometers, under the $5,000 range, you know what I mean, just to make do. But the car has been really shitty for a while now, and I was leaving work a couple weeks before, obviously I broke my rib, and I was on a hill, right, a very steep hill at a give way sign, and I was very, very lucky there was no one behind me, because my car died, the whole thing died.
And while you were driving?
While I was at the top of a hill like this, and it just started rolling backwards. There was no brakes, there was nothing. It was probably one of the most real scary things I've gone through in a car, because I had no control. And I was so lucky there was no one behind me, because in the end I couldn't get the brakes to work, so I had to use the handbrake and pull it in so that I crashed my car into the curb to stop. Yeah, and then I just sat there shaking for 10-15 minutes. Yeah, my therapist's facial looks like this, just to give you a visual. But yeah, so when I decided to get this one, because even my mechanic was like, do not spend any more money on this car, because I had to have the keys replaced a few times. I had to get the barrel replaced. I've already had to have the windows replaced. I'd already had to spend...
replace windows?
Oh, there's so many things, honestly. So I'd already spent a couple grand trying to keep the car running. That's when my mechanic was like, please don't...
The gambler says, know when to hold them.
Well, yeah, my mechanic was like, it's time to start looking, Liv. You're going to need a brand new motor and a brand new radiator, and that's just not worth putting it in there. So I started looking, and I told myself that this was going to be something good, something for me. I've had my full license since I was 16. That's 21 years, a long time. And I wanted an SVU that was big enough for the back to be turned into a bed, right? Either for camping or... for whatever if I need it. So I went to so many different car dealers, and I was like, first things first, I want all the seats put down, and I want to climb in. I climbed into the back of so many vehicles before even looking at anything else, because I was adamant it had to be big enough to be able to sleep in. So
with a mattress?
Yeah. Or with one of those roll-out car mattresses. That's what me and Boss used to do all the time.
Roll-out car? Okay.
Yep, there's plenty of things, eh? But anyway, I did go through an actual manic period.
Travel will be more fun now.
I know, that's what I say to everyone. I actually want to leave my house now because I like driving my car.
Right.
It's a plus. So Doc was like, no driving for this. I had to beak her for the letter to let me go back to work. And she's like, no driving to campus, no driving to this, because I told her about the car. And then I told her, and thankfully she gave me advice, because I went through this manic period and I didn't know what was happening. And it turns out that I had just gone so far off my purpose, because I've always said I will never get a loan unless it's a house loan, for example, for a mortgage. I don't want a car finance. I don't want credit cards. I don't want any of that stuff, I'm debt free, right? And I want to stay that way. Yes. I'm almost finished uni, 2 to go. still be debt-free, which is amazing. I know. But I got lost in my head. And I actually applied for a loan. And I was looking at loans. I was looking at cashing in stuff. I just got so overwhelmed by it all that I just went into this manic stage. So I went and saw the doc in person, and she took one look at me and went, something's wrong. And I explained it to her, and she's like, yeah, you're definitely cycling. You're rapidly cycling. And I can honestly say I don't recall ever being said that before. Yeah. Sometimes I know, but this was the first time I think that I've fully consciously realised what was happening. Because I was like up here and then here and then here, not even day by day, like half a day. It was literally 4 or 5 hours, up and down like this, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I finally saw the doc, and the doc was like, first things first, Liv, you're not getting a loan. You're not doing this, or you're not doing this. She's like, you can get a car in your budget. I know you can. And I was like, okay, thank you for helping me see the light. You know what I mean? And so
I was rapid cycling, not the best idea to put yourself in financial
no shit, but I didn't know. Like I said, that's when I realized how off I was, because I don't want that.
And it's a sign of a really good support. So your GP is now somebody who we know you can go to, and they'll identify when you don't have the insight to manage something.
Oh yeah, she saved me.
And you respect that relationship enough to listen to her and to allow that to happen, which means that you still have safety and less vulnerability.
Well, you should see how the story ends.
Uh-oh.
Right? No, it's not. Uh-oh. Relax.
Okay.
See? Uh-oh. I'm being taught by all the therapists not to preempt people. Don't preempt me, yeah? It's like, come on. I'm just happy I'm laughing and smiling because I was crying the fucking this morning, I'll tell you what. So, I told you I cut off my father. I was like, fuck you, had enough. You're all words, no talk, blah, 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 whatever. I'm done, yeah? Well, it was interesting because I decided that doc was right, and I had $8,000, but it was still a couple of grand short to what I wanted. And so I was talking to my mum, and she was like on me with the video and checking out all the cars as I went, and it was lovely talking to her on video all these times. And it was my mum who suggested messaging my father. And I was on a video call with my mum, and my mum goes, have you considered talking to Vance? And I was like, no, why on earth would I do that? Told her all the reasons why I'd cut him off. And then she did something I never would have ever could have believed could happen, and stuck up for him and was like, well, no, I actually think he's doing what he can. I think he's making an effort. And I'm like, wow, fuck, do I know what's going on this planet?
Okay.
But I took her advice. I emailed her. Yes. I emailed him and I said, look, I don't think you understand how or why you've hurt me to this degree. But I told him in a nicer email, I guess.
Yes. So you said, here's what actually I'm feeling, because whilst you might think you know what you're doing, sometimes they don't know because they're not psychic.
Yeah, no, I know. So I did tell him. He helped me out, gave me $3,000, which helped me to buy the car and to get my insurance, because I was budgeting in my head $700-800 for insurance. When I got the car, and I got the car in Bayswater, so ages away, right?
Yeah.
I had Coles car insurance, third-party fire and theft on the old one.
Yeah.
Now, I was not going to drive a car out of the lot without having insurance on it, especially when I was in peak hour traffic, 6 o'clock at night, an hour and a half away from home. So I obviously cancelled the third party, got the new one. Couldn't believe it. They quoted me for a full comprehensive and just with roadside, so none of the extras, $1,150 basically. What? With an excess of $1,350.
No way.
Yeah, but I had no choice at that time because the guy was closing up. I'd been there for fucking ever, so I took it. I was like, yep, cool.
Take it
straight away.
Get your check in the mail.
Yeah, no, I changed it to AMI. They were like $930 with roadside assistance and window and all of it. And I've managed to be able to just pay for it, so it's done. No more no monthly fees coming out.
Great.
Anyway, so that helped me and my father. And I was like, look.
What helped you and your father? Because it wasn't just the money.
No, the email, like the contacting him, the explaining him.
So what was his response to your disclosure of this is how I feel and this is why?
He came back to me.
You're really good at this is how I feel, but you're less good at sometimes doing the extra of this is why. so that everybody else doesn't guess or assume.
Oh no, I said one. I was very explicit with whys.
Now, great, yeah.
And he came back and he was like, look, I've received your email. I just need to compose myself to figure out how to reply. And of course, I didn't take that very well. I was like, fucking, don't overthink this bullshit. I was like, you're defeating the fucking purpose in the right now. Anyway, he's like, Liv, I'm not like you.
He doesn't want to mess it up anymore.
Well, he wrote a really, really nice email, and it resulted in me saying, I want to have a relationship with you. I want to give this a try. Because in the email, he was like, I don't do much. I just potter in my own, shed, He's like, I've got PTSD from being married to your mother, so it's really hard when we talk about this. And I was like, and I said to him, there's clearly been a misconception along the way, because me wanting to have a relationship with my father doesn't equal wanting to rehash my childhood over and over again. It's not the same thing. And I said that to him. I said, when it comes to my childhood, most of that's going to be dealt with by professionals. Yeah? I was like, that's why I see the professionals. I was like, I have severe complex PTSD. You've got PTSD. I don't want to be re-triggering each other. I was like, when I'm talking about having a relationship, I'm talking about getting to know you. I was like, you're a nice man who I share DNA with. I was like, but other than that, I don't know you. Yeah?
So it's to get to know him as an adult.
As a person.
With your own personality. And sure, when he sees you, how much do you look like your mom?
A lot. And he's going to be here in a couple of weeks.
There is an element of triggering, but you can walk down the street and see someone with brown hair. You can walk down the street and see someone wearing a purple jacket. Insert triggers all over the place because the world is not controllable. Yeah. That says to me that Dad needs to look at some PTSD work as well, because we can't prevent triggers. No. It's what happens when we have them and how we moderate our emotions and manage our distress so that we can continue to live your life in a meaningful way.
Well, I'm going to continue my story, and as I have said to Juice and Cassidy and her mum, I was like, I'm going to put money on it that my therapist is going to say almost word for word for what you guys have just said. Juice called me this morning because I was crying, and he just immediately called me because he's on the road for work today. And again, he said a quote that was, I said to him, oh my God, you've literally quoted these two. I was like, and I'm seeing my therapist later, and I'm like, I'll put money on it. She's going to say the same thing. And so it's interesting. So as I said, I've been having a relationship with Mum. Yeah, still superficial, but what it was. And it was, I thought it was becoming better. Like, I thought she was becoming sort of more chill and, like more understanding, and I don't know. Anyway, I've been trying to, so with the whole car thing, I was at my mechanic's a few times, obviously, because he was helping me figure shit out, and then obviously to the, when I got the full service to make sure it was, as thankfully it passed with flying colours. Everything is great.
It looks like a great car.
Oh, I love it. It is so, I look out the window so many times, I'm just like, oh my God, that's mine. I know it's childish and cheesy, but I've never owned a car like it before. It's got the built-in Wi-Fi for my music. It's got the built-in nav. No idea how to use that part yet.
You don't have to tell me depending on what you do with this, but what kind is it?
Oh, I've already told all these guys it's fun. It's a Holden Captiva.
A Holden Captiva.
It's a 2012, which was...
5-seater?
Yes. So it was slightly older than I wanted, but one of the things that was super important to me was to buy a car with less than 100,000 kilometres.
And it's a what year?
2012.
That's not bad. For less than 100,000 kilometres, it means it's probably been taken care of.
Oh, it has. It is really good.
And like an old lady car. You love those.
It is in immaculate condition.
Perfect.
There is no way Boss is getting in it until a fucking seat arrives for him. He loves his car rides, but it's so clean and perfect. It's just like, I love you, Boss, but no.
He can go in the backpack, or does
no,
he go
I'm buying him an actual full-on dog seat. I went to have a look.
With the harness seatbelt thing?
I've already got a harness and seatbelt for him, but I've been just using an old sheet,
Yeah.
But it's funny because I went and saw them in the pet store the other day, and they're like 150 or 130, and yet the exact same thing on eBay is like 25. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go with eBay on this one. But anyway, so I went through that period and I was feeling a lot better because as soon as I realised that oh my God, this is all coming from me being so off track. Like, why am I looking at loans? Why am I looking at 25, 30,000? Why am I doing this, right? Anyway, once I got out of that, I obviously started feeling better. Like, this is O week. Classes start on Monday.
Oh, okay.
You know me, I've got my freaking notes ready to go.
Ready to go. Already read with the tabs.
Oh, they're not fully read, but they're there. But not only that, I've like made everybody's day because there are group chats, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to send everything I've got through to all the group chats. I've double checked all the rules. It's just notes. And yeah, students love me, what can I say? Makes me feel better because if I do shit in my units and pass, at least then I've helped others. That's my it going on. Anyway, I was talking to Mum, not yesterday but the day before on video. Now my mum is just like me, or I'm just like her. And you can read her face like a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody who knows me knows what I'm thinking. It's all over me, yeah? No poker face to save myself. Neither does my mother, right? So I was trying to explain to her that I'd organised it with my mechanic, that I was going to come and work for him, right? But really what I wanted was to have a place to go, to be at, by a time, so that I had something to get up and go to and then study
the structure.
Yeah, because it's the whole body doubling thing.
You've done it before with your friends.
Exactly. And anyway, it was all good. And I actually arrived on Monday and I was waiting for him, and I was really surprised the gates weren't open. And there was obviously a miscommunication because I was messaging him saying, I'm here, like, what's the go? And he's like, I'm really sick, and it went back and forth. And it wasn't until like an hour he's like, I'm really sorry, like, we can't do it today. And I was like, yep, that's cool, run Cassidy, because I had all my school stuff with me, and I just had this feeling of, if I go home, I know I'm going to sleep all day, right? Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to achieve something. So I run Cassidy, and I was like, what are you doing? I know you don't have work, can I come up? Yeah. And she was like, yeah, that's cool. She was off with the horses, so her mum's partner was home. So I arrived, it was just me and him for a while, and I just studied for an hour until I waited for her to come back. I was really happy. Like, I got halfway through the first week's worth of stuff, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, because my mechanic is sick, right? So I went back on the afternoon and I was like, hey, he's like, I think he'd obviously overthought it, yeah, because I had said to him, I'm willing to make it, like, let's make this work for both of us. I was like, every time I ring, it rings so long, and it must be the same for everyone because you're off down the fucking shit doing whatever. I was like, if you let me sit in your office and use your Wi-Fi, I'm happy to answer the phone and just take notes to when you have a break and need to call these people back. And the reason this all started was because I had been there talking to him about getting a new car, and he was waiting on someone to bring him a part, and whatever it was that he was doing, he couldn't continue on until this person arrived. And I was like, you know that I live around the corner, like less than 10 minutes from here, and I'm at home like all the time. I was like, I'll happily be someone that picks up and drops off stuff for, bit of cash. And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be good. And that's when I said, can I come in? And so I went and saw him in the afternoon, and he was like, there's going to be times where I don't need things picked up. And I was like, yeah, that's all well and good. I was like, but it's not really about making money for me. It's about having a place to go to where I know someone. Because if you're working on the cars, I want to work. Anyway, it was all organised and great, and I was so happy and so excited, and I was telling my mum, yeah, on a video. And I'm watching her facial expressions. And she kept asking me questions. Why can't you do it at home? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? With the facial expressions, 100% showing me she thinks I'm a bullshitter, yeah? So I'm trying to explain it the best way I can, and trying to explain to her, we didn't know any of this until I ended up in this situation, alone, without housemates or partners or whatever, I said, so it's all really new for me too. And you could just see her it was all over her face. And I was past it by this point. And I just said to her,
is she saying that your expectations of your friends is too much?
No. I said to her, it really feels like you don't believe me that I live with these health conditions. And she starts yelling at me saying, I don't believe you. It's not real. It's impossible for someone to be living with all of this stuff. And I couldn't listen anymore, so I just hung up on her. And then I sent her a message saying, you know what, you are not a doctor. I've had an absolute guts full of this. I was like, all she does is dismiss me. She literally says to me, I don't believe it. I've got this entire support team of medical people, but you're all fucking quack. She thinks I'm a lying bullshitter, yeah? Who is just a lazy fucking good for nothing, pretty much.
For the purpose of what would you lie about that?
I think she thinks I'm lying because I don't have to work full time.
Life is so much better with chronic pain and stuff.
That's what I kept trying to say to her. That's what I kept saying. Okay. Why would somebody lie? And I had Cassidy's mom and I had Juive say it again this morning, and they both said the same thing, and it's the same thing that you've always said. You know, she doesn't want to admit that I'm living with all of this stuff, because to admit it or to accept it means that she has to accept that it has come from my childhood. But it's all sort of, and my mother will never accept that.
Some of your physical health stuff is just,
I'm talking mental.
Straight genetics.
You know, I'm like, it's the mental health stuff. Yeah.
I know.
And she was just like, it was so dismissive. And I've told her so many times, this is the one I'm struggling with, you know. And I was so excited to be going and having structure and stuff. But even still, like, obviously he's been sick, so it hasn't happened. I went to Cassidy's.
So if we take away the idea of, let's take away the mental health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people go through university who don't have mental health or physical health needs.
Mm-hmm.
Each of them finds an environment and a situation that works best for them. Some study in a library. Some study under a tree. Some study at home. Some people watch TV. Some people talk to people, like do the group thing. Like, why is it not okay that you have found, like, regardless of everything else, you found that you work better when there's someone else around you? So
I have absolutely no idea. Her answer was, why can't you just do it at home? Why can't you do this? And she was just becoming more aggressive and more like, and when she was like, I don't believe you. It is impossible.
As the impact of your relationships isn't affected. Like your relationship with your, say, mechanic or whatever, and you're not placing yourself in a situation of vulnerability or unsafety. That's not the right word.
I know what you mean, but yeah. But, danger?
That's the one. I'm like, unsafety. I'll drink more
I love
coffee.
how you make me laugh, though. It's good.
After your appointment, there'll be more coffee.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because on the drive here, I was thinking the only thing wrong with this clinic is that you don't offer your clients tea and coffee.
The only thing wrong with this clinic is actually that the cafe down the hall is now.
Oh, so you will be offering us tea and coffee soon.
Well, we tried that and the coffee machine leaked all over the kitchen.
Don't get coffee machine. It's just instant. Honestly, nobody cares. I would rather an instant coffee than nothing. Just FYI. Okay. Put in my little thing. Put it in the suggestion box. Yeah.
Talk to finance.
But yeah,
it's and I think that's the only issue that I can foresee with it, is if you choose the people that you're doing this safely and it doesn't impact your relationships, in that you don't have people who feel that there's an inappropriate obligation or toing and froing. You're doing your best to say, here's what I can offer you, here's what you can offer me, let's make it transactional. And there are times that it's not transactional and people just like you and they want you around, and that's okay. And sometimes you'll find people that you really like and you just want to have around. That's okay. Got that.
Yeah. And that's what Juive was saying, because he rang me and he's just like, I can imagine that there's this feeling that if she treats you like that, it feels like no one can like you the way you are. And that is what happened. I just started crying, but in all fairness, I started doing the breathing, the 4-4-4-1, so that really helped until every time I calmed down, my thoughts kicked up, and then I started again.
I got a new one for you too.
Go on.
Because you can't always do the breathing with the 4 thing, anyway. So you just use your fingers.
Oh, I like that.
And it's a tactile.
I like it.
Grounding mechanism as well. It's called finger breath. So in and out.
Okay.
In and out.
This is what we're doing, people.
Finger breathing.
Finger breathing. Never heard of it, but I like it.
Because you can take it with you everywhere you go, and it can be
in. That's good. I was so proud of myself this morning.
Tactile thing, you'll love it because you like a touch.
Mm-hmm. So that
that is true, and I do believe that I'm not your mom's therapist, and that's
if she had one, would be in a lot of better situations.
Strong suggestion that she does struggle with identifying that your childhood may have resulted in some traumas and that has had long-term consequences, as all parents would have. Everybody wants their kids to do really well. Everybody wants to protect them, and when we don't, even when we don't, and they get a cut on their finger, there's an element of grief and guilt.
See, that's why I was feeling okay, because I felt like as far as I was concerned, between her and I've forgiven everything that's happened, because I know she's dealing with stuff too. The only difference is I admit it and get help for it. Mm-hmm. And she hates the fact that she sees herself in me, because I just fucking like her.
I think the other thing that I'm going to say is your mom's validation of how you live your life and some of the things that work well for you. Why is that so important to you?
I feel like we're back at square one.
Self-validation skills.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm trying. I'm getting better. It's my mum, though.
I know. And so the power in your head is bigger. You know, if somebody tells you that the voice of God is telling them this and this, I mean, who am I to say whatever? But it's much more difficult to tell God to shut up than it is to tell somebody that you met 5 minutes ago.
Mm.
Your parents telling them that their opinions, you know, thanks for your opinion, but no thank you.
I even feel guilty because I sent her a message saying exactly what you're not a doctor. This is real. Why would anybody make any of this up? Can't you just be a mum? Be supportive. And no. Nothing.
So the thing is, can't you just be a mum? Well, she is already. Can you be supportive of this? Maybe she can't.
No, she can't. But the thing is, I told her not to contact me again. And Juive was like, if you want to have a relationship with her, you just have to keep it superficial and not let anything she says get to you. And I was like, I don't know how to do that with my mum. I don't. I can't. I've tried and tried and tried. This is breaking point for me. To yell at me and tell me I'm making this fucking shit up when I am doing every single thing I can every day to work hard.
So what it says to me is that you want a relationship with your mom, but you want to have a relationship with your mom in which you can both remain emotionally regulated.
I don't think that's possible. Not where I'm at anyway.
Sometimes people need to change.
I know.
And change takes time and change takes effort. And that may not happen.
I know. I just get sad because she's going to be 71 this year. Like, I don't want something to happen to my mum.
If you want to have a relationship with your mom, you can have that.
Well, I'm not sure that I can now.
You can moderate your reactions and emotions, and those are skills that we can have you do. You already have them. You're like the DVD client queen.
I try, but it's just...
So, if you want to, you can. I believe you can.
I'm focusing on that because when I do get upset and overwhelmed, I have been using the breathing, but I've also been using the wiggle my toes and really touching the ground and
feeling
all of that.
Things and textural touches and get boss involved and
I've been doing all of that.
So all of those things, but I think in that immediate moment when you send the message to mom saying I'm done, I actually don't really think that's what you want to say.
No, I didn't, but I was so
But that's your emotional reaction.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So I feel like I've made it worse when she was the one that insulted me in the first place.
Yes, that's so unfair, but true.
So what is your recommendation? Because Juice was like, wait and see if she contacts you. And I was like, put $100 on it to say she won't. I know her. I always have to make the first contact. I will have to apologize to her to have a relationship.
Do you feel like, regardless of what your mom did, because I'm going to say, yes, your mom did the wrong thing. Yes.
Yeah, I need to apologize for the message, I guess. But the thing is, everything I said in the message is real, except that I told her she was a bad mother or something.
Well, except
Probably
for that.
Shouldn't have done that.
So some of the things in your reaction, you can apologize for.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're not apologizing for the truth. We're apologizing for the way in which it was delivered.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sending a text message to mom saying, well, actually, these are the diagnoses that I have. I'd really like your support. Totally okay.
She won't do that. Now, I understand with even you and I have talked about it. So many of them mingle together. But officially, this is where it's getting to me. Throughout my life, I have officially been diagnosed with these fucking conditions.
Yes.
This is real.
Yes.
And she questions me to a point where it makes me start second guessing everything. And I went to a 30th birthday party a couple weekends ago across the street,
Yeah.
I met this woman. First thing, why are you on disability? You look like you're absolutely fine. Nothing's wrong with you. Are you sure? And she just starts fully grilling me. I've met her for like 4 minutes or something. And I'm just like, I was like, have you honestly never heard of an invisible illness? She goes, no. And I was like, okay, off the top of my head, the first one that comes to mind is cancer. I was like, then you got anxiety, depression. I said, there are that many different invisible illnesses. It's not funny.
If you're not bleeding and there's no rash, then it's invisible. But, and here's the thing. You don't need to justify it.
I know, and that's what I'm
So the validation that we can provide you is that all of your specialists are saying, this is the treatment that we're going to try to implement to support you with this diagnosis.
Exactly.
And, all love and respect to your mom, but she's not a doctor.
No, she's not, but she's been doing this my whole life.
So when you second guess yourself, you're not a doctor.
I know. And this is why it's good when I see you, because I really need to get, I'm in a good place. Yeah. My life is good. I'm feeling good, Yeah. Uni's starting back.
So here's what I'm going to say about your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Because it all boils down to this. If you want a relationship with your mom,
mm-hmm.
have one. Mm. Own your part of your regulation.
Yeah.
And own your truth.
Yeah, I know.
So if somebody said to me, I'm going to try to think.
It's like someone saying to you, you're not really a psychologist, you're just a fraud or something, almost like. Yeah. I mean, not quite.
My last client, no, just jokes. Yeah, I mean, they can think what they want, and I can know me enough to know that that's the case. You have, blonde hair instead of brown. Well, okay, you can think that.
Yeah, I get it. I know you're right.
But it's because I'm giving the power and the weight to their opinion. And I appreciate that it's, it's mom. I appreciate it's mom, it's God, it's whoever. It's the hard ones to say, But the only person's opinion that matters in your life is your own.
I know. But it's funny.
But do you know? Because right now that's not what's happening.
Well, I'm really trying, if that helps.
I know. And by no means do I mean for that to be.
No, I know.
And all I'm saying is, if you want a relationship with your mom, have one. Will you need to reach out first?
100%.
Yes, because you are more advanced in treatment and therapies than she is. Yes. Did you emotionally dysregulate and say things you didn't want to say? Yes. Should you apologize for those things based on your values? Yes.
Yeah, you're right. I know.
It has nothing to do with mom. It's about you. Be true to who you are. And if your values say, I didn't want to say that, or I shouldn't have said that, it makes me feel whatever.
Yeah, I feel like shit for saying what I said.
Then you apologize. It may mean nothing.
I couldn't keep listening to her dismiss me and assaulting me, and I had to hang up before it got really bad.
That's right.
I wasn't going to be able to deal with that.
That's right. So I hate to say this sentence, next time.
What's wrong with next time? No, there's always a next time.
There's a next time. Next time, how could you end that call differently?
Mom, I love you, I respect you, but I cannot listen to you dismiss me anymore.
If you do respect her, sure, I think there are things about her you do, but I think there's things about her that you don't. Like this, for example.
Juice made a good point. He was like, look, I don't know the full story. He's like, obviously, I don't know fuck all. He goes, but from what I do know, he goes, I don't understand why you're putting all your time and energy into your mum when your father wants a relationship and he's so placid and kind and calm.
We want to have relationships with them both. And there's no reason why you can't. You're not asking for too much.
That's what I reckon.
But we need to be real about what they can offer you. They can only offer you what they can do. And if theirs is, your scale is, say, 0 to 100 and theirs is 0 to 63, they can only give you 63.
I know.
It's never going to be 100.
I know you're right. It's just hard in the moment.
So and it's like, when mom's screaming at you, you can say, Mom, this conversation is going nowhere now. I'm going to end it before we each say something we don't mean.
Oh, I like that one. That's good.
I'm going to hang up now.
I do love my mum. Yeah, you're right.
Now, my mom and I don't have any kind of historical mental health issues. Well, probably, not that I'm aware of anyway, although we all have issues. And I think I've said that sentence to her a great number of times. I'm going to hang up before one of us says something we don't want to.
Yeah, that's better.
I give the warning. I say, this isn't going anywhere. We have the constructive conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Is this productive? Is this going to deteriorate? Are we actually talking or are we not talking? Because it sounds like in this moment, Mom wasn't actually having a reciprocal conversation with you. She was just me.
Oh, from the second I tried to start explaining it, you know, like there's that, and I'll say, because I say to people, look, I 100% admit I was this person in the past, and that's why I can relate. But as a psychologist, you will know so many people have an idea about ADHD, and it's we're lazy and we this and that and everything else. And I, even back in the day, probably had the thought, you know, oh, people use it as an excuse, but now that I know what is going on, like it is hard. Like when I am literally stuck and my motivation's there, my passion's there, everything's there, but I feel actually stuck, that's a very real thing. And I was trying to explain it to her and it was just, yeah, I don't even know why I fucking bothered, truthfully, but.
And and that's probably that's probably the issue. People without ADHD are never going to know what decision paralysis looks like. No. Unless they're at the supermarket and there's 900 different kinds of teas and they're like...
Yeah, I get overwhelmed at the supermarket. So
me too, so many choices. But, you know, it's a very flippant way of sort of describing it, but people aren't really going to understand that because they don't have the experience of it.
But it's the same with the fucking dyslexia. I said to my shrink, what's his name? I was like, I know for a fact I've got it. I know it's not because I want to add to the labels. I don't want any fucking labels, yeah? But
it's actually really hard to find anybody
I know. He's already said that. But I'm even with I'm getting the Webster pack set up because, you know, yesterday I didn't take my meds because yesterday I didn't do anything. I just slept all day. And, you know, I've got heaps to do. I have to take my other camera back because it's just not working, won't charge, won't turn on and off, won't do nothing. I've got all of it in the car.
A new fancy one.
Yeah, that's why I'm using this one, the phone. So, because I've decided I want to start live streaming my whole life, like as in cameras in the corner of my rooms and just being able to remote, like that way I can body double without leaving my house. The cameras will be watching me and I'll be live streaming.
Yeah.
But, in the meantime, I was
getting a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried about that. I pay fucking a fortune for the internet as it is to get my I'm with you for an hour. I have to go home and upload an hour's video. Believe you me, I have to pay for my internet.
Can't even make my Netflix works most of the time. So yeah.
I'm going to see Rocky Horror on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
For the second time, obviously.
Yeah. Who's the Rocky? The Rocky Frankenfurter.
Oh, yeah. He's from...
What? He's from Neighbours or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's from Neighbours. Oh, I can't... I can't think of his name now, truthfully.
Jason Donovan?
It's Donovan something, yeah.
Is he the one that was dating Kylie Minogue for a long time?
Got no idea. But I do know he's freaking amazing.
It's the only one that I know that was from Neighbours.
Well, I've already been, so I know exactly what seats we've got, and they're perfect.
Nice. Who are you going with?
Work. Nice. And her friend. Their friend, yeah. So it's exciting. But yeah, so when I take
Saturday.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know, I'm so happy. That's why I had to beg Doc to give me the letter. I was like, let me have the letter. She's like, I don't want you driving. I was like, I promise I won't drive anywhere except to work. And she's like, and then we had another call.
Work and the rocket work.
Well, I've obviously, look, I'm not wearing the sling or anything anymore because you can barely see it. It doesn't hurt. You can't feel it. The only time I feel it is when I sleep.
It doesn't hurt. How did you? Yeah, so last time I spoke to you, you were on death's door. And I was like, you need to call your doctor immediately. What happened?
For the broken rib, you mean?
Yeah. Because we were talking about going to hospital.
Yeah.
And now you're
I know,
significantly better.
Yes, that's right. I remember. So, because I talked to the doctor the way you told me to, and she gave me keep it in the sling, blah blah blah, and then I went and saw them and had all more CT scans done, and they said it's healing, but I don't know if you can tell, the lump's still there, but it's not very big. But I mean, I live with chronic pain. Now it's just all blended together. It doesn't It's not like it was.
You're not getting fibro there?
I've got fibro everywhere. I had to sit down in the shower this morning because
Do you have a shower seat?
It's on a bath, so I just sat in the bath with the shower on because I honestly thought I was going to collapse standing up. And then I got out and it hit. So, you know me and my science and spirituality. So I missed a number of videos, and nobody, actually, it's funny because I went through a few days with this manic stuff, and I was just like, why do I bother? Why do I care? Nobody cares, sort of thing. So I went 4 days without making a video. And on the 4th day, my sister messaged me, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, I mean, I suppose, but why? And she's like, and you could tell, I don't reckon she wanted me to know, but she goes, I've just noticed that you haven't posted in a number of days, and now I'm worried, and I need to know that you're okay. And oh my God, I reckon that was the first time I cried happy tears. I was just like, I can't even begin to tell you how much it means to me that my sister noticed enough to contact me, you know? So we're like slowly talking and that. I'm kind of hoping what happened with Mum doesn't fuck it up, but...
So not only noticed, but was anxious about it, got really brave and initiated a phone call.
Text message, but so to speak.
Same,
yeah. And it meant the world to me. And it's
Did you tell her that?
I made a video straight after I got the message.
No, I know, but did you tell her that?
Yeah,
Not
of course.
Everyone tell
of course. That. Yeah, of course. I told her that. I told her, you know, I want to see her. I love her. I'm sorry. I promise I'll keep all my own opinions to myself, you know.
No,
I won't say shit. I'll try really hard anyway.
She doesn't want you to not be yourself.
Yeah,
but maybe that's a similar kind of thing to what's happening with your mom. Oh, yeah, I did do that. Yeah, sorry.
What do you mean?
Your opinions. Your mom gives you her opinions.
I know.
I know. Okay. Too close. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm feeling good driving. I mean, like I said, I feel safe driving now, you know. Like, I didn't fill out a timesheet for the campus stuff because Doc was like, don't do it. But then I told her I got a new car and I'm feeling better. And she was like, you can drive only if you feel fine. And I'm like, well, I feel like I normally do. So that's good enough, yeah. And, but yeah, so technically I'm enrolled for like 4 till 6 or something on a Thursday night or whatever it is, but I'm just going to do it online. All the classes are online and my friends are all online, so I think I'm going to do that. But
as long as you can have some support to study.
Yeah, of course. Like I've got,
yeah.
Because I'll be studying with Cassidy and that. Because I'm going to hopefully, because the classes that we attend are Mondays from 3 till 5, so I'm hoping that I can spend Mondays with them.
What's on Thursday night then?
So there's classes and seminars. You know, the classes are online, the lectures, but then the interactive seminars are either online or on campus.
I think they're old school. We called them tutorials.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back in 1953.
So yeah. But yeah, I've got that, and but like I need to look into the citizenship because I was trying to fill out all the paperwork the day before, and it just got halfway through it and was like, you're not eligible, so now I need to ring them up. So I'm like, maybe it's the day thing. I don't know what's going on.
It's just really hard, actually.
Like I'm just, I got heaps to do, but like I said, I got to take this camera back and my glasses. You know, I normally have my thing, the string, and the string broke, and I was like, what the hell? I took my glasses off, and the whole side of it had come off, and it's like these sharp sort of razors that had just split the thing in half, and I was like, right, well, can't wear them, put them away, I've got to take them to the store. And
a lot of things breaking around you at the moment.
Yeah, I know. Should I be concerned?
But I don't think you did it. I think it's just...
I feel like these situations with Mum and the person across the street and things like that, you know, are showing me. And even this morning, it was like, it has helped me show me why I share, in a sense, because I am just one little person in a world of billions who have invisible illnesses. I'm not the only one on this planet dealing with bullshit like this.
That's right.
But by sharing, I don't know, it does help. But yeah, I guess...
I think that yes, but also, not to be negative, but I think that the people that you're sharing with are kind of already Team Invisible Illness. Like, the audience is not the one that is questioning you at parties.
No, I'm aware of that.
People who are questioning you at parties would never watch your videos. And I think it's more about their values and their culture and their seemingly either denial or blessed life, because to not know that there are things that people struggle with, to not understand that means that either you have no recognition of it, no insight into it, or you've been lucky enough to not have to have that.
Yeah,
And
I can't imagine being...
And the values being so dismissive, and I don't know, it's a privacy thing, it's a respect thing, it's so many things. And why at a party you would ask someone...
I don't know, but I was nice and polite. I got up and walked away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was nice that the neighbours invited me. So.
It was very nice your neighbours invited you, because they wanted you to come.
I know, it was lovely.
Great. That's important to recognize. People want you to be there.
I know.
And when you talk about things like not having real life friends...
I know I do. I know I do. I guess, like, I mean, Juive shows there, kissing your mum and that. I know this. It's just,
sometimes it feels lonely.
Yeah.
Even with all these people.
Sometimes.
Because sometimes the person that you want to validate and support you, aka mom in this instance, isn't there.
That's why I started crying. Because I made a video. I didn't cry in the video. And then I was trying to make myself do my pillbox. And it just, I don't know, like I've fucked in my mind up to that damn pillbox. As soon as I know I've got to do it, it's like something in me just gets angry. Right? And I don't like doing it. Maybe because I know that I have to live on fucking billions of pills for the rest of my life. I don't know. Because the one thing I did say to my doc was, I didn't take my pills for about 3 days, and I'm very aware I need to, because I could feel myself changing.
Yeah.
And
physically and mentally.
Yeah. So I've asked now for all the paperwork to be done to get the Webster packs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've got one of the letters that arrived. I'm waiting for the psychiatrist ones to
send. The blue ones?
I was told because I thought you just took your meds in and they did it, yeah, and you paid an amount, but actually it's free, but you've got to get letters from your doctors, all paper scripts, letters from all prescribing doctors, and that was all well and good, except my psychiatrist was like, I send you e-scripts, and I was like, yeah, he goes, I'm going to have to cancel the e-script to send you the paper one. I was like, I don't care what, I just need the Webster packs. And he wasn't able to cancel it because it had already had one dispensed. So he's like, I'm going to have to write it on the letter. I'm like, as far as I can tell, I don't understand why it would be an issue. Like, you're the doctor. Like, can you just note it? Because he had the appointment with me, but he had to do all the work afterwards. Like, he rang me at 8 o'clock. He was still working on it, like, trying to get this done for me. So nice dog, don't get me wrong. He always asks me if he's okay with how much he charges me too, which is sweet. Because I asked him how it changes. Like, sometimes I'll get quoted by something from reception and then it'll change. So he was like explaining it depends on how much extra work needs to be done and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, look, I fully understand that. I said, you're obviously worth it. It's just for me to sort of help keep track. And so he told me what it was going to cost, but he was like, are you okay with that? And I'm going to give you like the max rebate that we can. And I was like, well, yeah, of course I'm okay. You're doing me solid, you know. So he's a good guy. So I think once that is all set up, that'll help, and
then you won't have to do it.
I won't miss any. And I know it's ridiculous, but I do.
Well, you just said that one of the biggest things, well, not
no, it's a big thing. I hate Pillbox Day.
Doing Pillbox Day distresses you.
It wouldn't be done.
You don't have to do it.
If Juive hadn't called me. The only way I got through it was because he rang me, and I did it while talking to him. I guarantee I would have had to go home and still do it at this rate.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be good that the pharmacist will do it.
Because another thing I want to do was, like, because I said to Doc, I was like, I don't take my meds at the same time every day. I said, I feel like I probably should be. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh, I could take them anywhere from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. morning pills. And she's like, yeah, no, that's not right. Yeah,
like it's like not like 7:14. You have to take them every day, but like, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Look, and that's the thing, that's the shit that makes me feel like I'm this shitty, bad person, because I can't even do that right.
Yes, you can, and you're putting things in place to make change.
True. Do you have any solid advice for me moving into university for the next trimester? My second last unit.
You've made it all the way to the second last unit without amazing advice from me, so probably not. How about this? Trust that you can do this, because let's look at the evidence that says you absolutely can.
I'm looking forward to this unit anyway. Psychopathology.
Oh, you'll be fine.
That's what I said. Well, I got so many of them.
Like,
did not know there were
which
10
diagnosis today?
personality I did not know there were 10 personality disorders. I was like, far out.
Yeah, it's
That's
like a quiz.
full on. Yeah, it's full on.
10, not 10.
Yeah, I've learned all these new ones. But
Oh my God.
like I said, I'm just, like, I'm excited. I do get my days, like, you know.
It's okay. Everybody does live.
I know.
And what we know is you're winning at this.
Thank you.
So with Mom, own what you did.
Yep.
If you want a relationship, have it. Implement the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Boundary up at 63%.
Yeah, I get that. That's good.
Dad, if you want a relationship, have it.
Yeah.
Trust yourself that your reactions can be true to who you are, and everything else is fine.
Yep. That's
Self-validate. I am okay.
I am okay. I am okay, people. Talk to you later.